Good to have you back. The organisation Undoing Tax Abuse is opposing the City of Johannesburg's plans to charge prepaid electricity meter users even more. Well, the city is proposing a 200 rand levy for a prepaid residential meter and a further 400 rand for businesses. Now, OUTA has submitted a formal objection to the city, but let's discuss this even more with Slade from OUTA, who joins us now, just for some clarity and why this is not such a good idea. Brandon, good to have you, and good morning to you. Now, of course, you are opposing and you are obviously objecting this decision by the city. Why is it not feasible at this point? We're seeing there a 230 rand planned charge for domestic and residents and a 460 rand for businesses.
Well, thank you. Good morning, Tamelu. It is absolutely nonsensical for the City of Joburg to propose a levy of this nature. Just bear in mind that this is a surcharge, so it is a charge on top of the already increased tariff of 14.59%. So this will obviously affect residential prepaid user customers as well as business prepaid customers. So why it is not feasible is that the City of Joburg currently has not got a sufficient and efficient debt collection process going on. They have also stated that in the new financial year they aim to cut electricity losses to 24%. In terms of nurses' guidelines, the cut for electricity should be around 10%. So the fact that they are going down to 24% is also an indicator that they are really running rampant with saving electricity across the board.
Yeah. So
this levy is becoming non-affordable for both businesses, small businesses specifically, because if we look at the statistics of upstart businesses,
right,
around 2 out of 7 businesses fail or succeed within the first year of starting up. That leaves a total of 5 businesses falling off in the first year of operation.
So you have the opinion that the city did not conduct a proper public oversight before reaching these charges and these amounts?
That is correct. We refer to this kind of study as a cost of supply study. So at this stage, there is no reasonable means for the consumer to determine whether this levy is in actual fact justified. So we cannot look at what City Power actually spends on maintaining its distribution network, and there's absolutely no means for us to be certain that this money, if it is imposed, that is, will be utilized for the purpose which it is intended for.
Yeah, and with that being said, especially speaking of the cost of supply study that you speak about right now, and being an organization that is front on and center on transparency, do you think the city has been transparent enough in producing this cost of supply study?
No, they have, in fact, not actually conducted a cost of supply study to begin with. But if we just go back to the notion of transparency,
yeah.
This particular levy was tabled to the Municipal Council at the end of March. So the public had time to comment on the imposition of the whole budget by the 8th of May. So that's just a little over a month for people to comment on this. The other thing is a lot of these documents made available for public consumption and for public comment is very incoherent. And it's of a very technical nature. So the city cannot reasonably expect for the average consumer to have a full grasp of all the calculations that's contained in those kinds of documents.
Yeah,
so the convoluted document itself will not place the average consumer in a position to give a meaningful contribution to the imposition of a levy.
Right. So I suppose there's some of the discrepancies that you make mention of in the budget document by the city. I mean, we spoke about the business side before, but in terms of households, should the city, say for argument's sake, be able to move along with their plan to add this levy charge? What are the ramifications, Brandon, on households at this point within the pandemic that we're currently plagued with?
Well, it's undisputed that the country went into a very hard lockdown last year with the whole COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of employees were retrenched, a lot of households literally living on the breadline, and then there is a margin of residents that fall outside of the social grant threshold for the city of Tshwane or for the city of Joburg, and these are are the vulnerable people. If I can just give you some statistics on what a municipal bill would look like with the imposition. So last year, the City of Joburg reported that the average consumption per household is around 374 kilowatt hours. So if we look at the consumption of 350 kilowatt per hour, this would be a municipal bill from 596 Rand. This will escalate to 913 Rand with the levy. And even if the levy is not imposed, this bill would escalate to around 683 Rand on the 14.59%.
Right.
So it's completely unaffordable.
So with that being said, and its unfeasibility being expressed by OUTA, what's your demand then to the City of Johannesburg? What demands are you tabling at this point?
The city should consider the economic fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic. The city should also reevaluate its own debt collection practices. And the city should not try to move over the debt from conventional customers over to prepaid customers. It should also be borne in mind that prepaid customers are a source of guaranteed revenue for the City of Joburg. So by loading this additional charge to prepaid customers, the city is effectively de-incentivizing the migration to prepaid.
I mean, Brandon, before I let you go, then just for clarity's sake, will provision be made for the elderly and those coming from low-income households, I mean, coming from this plan from the city?
If we go back to the documentation being incoherent, specifically with regards to this levy, there's no mention that this levy would apply or not apply to indigent groups within the City of Joburg's jurisdiction. So it leaves us with some unanswered questions in that space.
And I suppose the city needs to answer them. Thank you so much, Brandon Slade from OUTA, for joining us and just, talking about, of course, this planned monthly levy extra charge, of course, by the City of Johannesburg.